Good evening, and thanks for coming out. I'm Brian.
I'm Erin.
And we're from B&E-MTB. So tonight we're going to be talking about winter riding.
And the blues.
Some of us really hate winter, but you're kind of forced with it. But we like riding, so we got to figure out some ways to get around it. So we brought in some special guests. Yes. We're going to bring them on, and we'll go through. So, and of course, Johnny forgot to unmute his mic. We're going to do that now. All right.
I didn't mute it.
There's always one.
Oh man,
There's always one.
I didn't mute it.
He's always the one.
The one. That's funny.
I never muted my mic.
Well, we did. We knew you were going to talk.
Okay.
We went over this.
I'm already in trouble.
Oh man. So
one in every class.
With us today, we got Johnnie U from MTB Q&A.
Hi there.
That's it. From the sunny Florida.
Yeah, we're talking about winter riding. I just had to up my AC. Oh, it's hot.
And that's why we brought in people from all around the country. So we got Sage from Trail Sage, and he's in Pennsylvania area. We got JT, the Dusty Dutchman, and Wisconsin.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
That just sounds cold. I don't even know. Yeah. And we got Leah from Women's Mountain Bike Network from California. So whereabouts California? Because California can be.
Yeah, I'm in Southern California. I just went on a little ride before this, and it was 62 degrees, and I was freezing. So I don't envy where you guys.
62 sounds right. Nice
so
right now, but it can feel chilly.
We're from New Jersey, but again, the reason I brought Sage is about 2 hours from us, an hour and a half. But in this area on the East Coast, we're in this tiny little pocket. We're in the southern end of New Jersey, which is a small state, but it's its own bubble to where we, in the wintertime, it's 40 degrees, 30 degrees. It'll rain at 30 degrees somehow where everyone else is getting snow. We just get this freezing rain, nasty. It's just miserable.
Gray and
no.
It's damp and it's cold.
2 hours north of us where there's really good mountain biking in New Jersey still, they get snow. They have all the ski resorts and stuff. And yet South Jersey is just this gray,
and I
cold
actually
mess.
do like the snow.
Yep.
For someone who doesn't like winter and the cold, I do like the snow. If it's going to be cold, it might as well snow.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No, I like seeing it every now and then. We'll go out to Jackson Hole, Wyoming and see the snow, but then I get to leave it.
That's the...
Well, it doesn't last.
That is the one thing. So we had our first snow in 2 years, 2 weeks ago. And it actually stayed for, what, 3 days?
Yeah, it was exciting. We actually got to go sledding.
But that is the nice thing about that, because it will snow, but it goes away really quick. That's why everyone always asks, hey, get a fat bike, get this or that. Sorry, Sage, I know other people, but it's not worth it.
Not unless I can convince him to go on the beach or something with it, but he doesn't like sand at all.
Right. Yeah. What is the matter with you? Why do you not like sand?
It's rough.
Calling you out, Brian.
I don't like sand.
Like
it washes off.
Oh well.
It gets into places.
Yeah, I don't mind sand just when it's in certain areas.
I'm not a big fan of sand at all. I don't like the beach.
I love it.
No. I'm not a big fan of the beach.
And yet, where do you live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny though. You'll never see me on a beach. So I mean, I'm a boater, but it's a rare occasion you'll see me on a beach. I can't sit in sand. You can't sit. I gotta do something.
Right,
I don't know how you guys are on the beach.
We're gonna get back to mountain biking in a second, but the whole beach thing, I'm the guy that walks down the beach in shoes because I can't stand sand. So shoes, like
I love the beach.
I got flip flops on right now. I live in flip flops. I can't. I have to have. I don't like shoes.
With or without socks, Johnny? You don't got socks. You got socks on over
No
there?
socks, no. But
Yeah, okay.
no, yeah, no socks,
Okay.
no underwear. What?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Same, buddy. Same.
It gets down.
I mean,
there.
I figured that about you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Huh?
So I have a
biggest
non-winter mountain biking question. Mia, am I sensing an accent?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what is the accent?
Take a guess. Or maybe I should talk a little bit more for you guys to figure it out.
Australia.
Yeah.
no. So my daughter, we watched, just not that we did any research on anyone here, but there's a certain guy who interviewed everyone, and we were watching, and the first thing our daughter did, wait, Australian, and what's the word?
She always puts in like an R at the end of
Nar.
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 It's like, wait, it's Australian, and
Nar.
she called it out immediately. I was like,
it. She tries to imitate it all the time.
It's
That's
so
usually how people can tell where I'm from because I'll say no. And
Yeah.
everyone is like, oh, that's the
No.
weird one.
that's great. That's great. So, all right, back to winter stuff though. JT, Wisconsin, how disgusting is it there? I mean, sorry, how cold is it?
Well, this year, man, this year's been really bad. We haven't had any really good snow. I haven't been able to ride my fat bike on snow at all this year yet. Even the trips that I've taken that are normally fat bike trips, they've all ended up being frozen dirt. We've been riding frozen dirt instead of snow this year. So I'm trying to just I'm giving this year a pass. It's exempt from this conversation because it's been so bad. But normally it sounds a lot like the weather that you have. It's just the difference is when we get snow, there's more of a potential that it could stick around a little bit longer. But and we also don't get rain at 40 degrees or 30 degrees. Usually, if it's 30 degrees, it'll snow here. But I don't know. I love it. I am an absolute winter fanatic. I love it. I love winter and summer almost the same because they're just so dynamically different. You know what I mean? It's a totally different vibe, winter fat biking, and I absolutely love it. The cold, like someone mentioned, is that what cold is on its own. Cold sucks, but cold, if I have to be a little cold to go ride fresh powder on my snowboard or on my fat bike, and it's a little cold and I just have to prepare for that, I'll take it. I'll take the cold with snow with the right conditions. I can deal with cold as long as the conditions are worth it. But it's just a matter of sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say when it first gets cold, like right after that, like fall time, and does it take you a while to want to get back out there, or you're like, it doesn't matter, I'm ready for it, and you jump right into it, or do you go into a little hibernation mode first and then talk yourself into it?
There's probably a little transition there where even in the fall, you're still kind of holding on to that warm weather just a little bit, but again, I think it's conditions. It's totally conditions based for me because if the conditions are right, I really don't care what the temperature is. Like we'll ride below zero if the conditions are right. We'll ride. I think we've written down to negative.
Okay.
Oh my god,
negative 10.
I have a
think
question
Fahrenheit.
then.
Sure.
What is an ideal condition then?
love it.
So it's for fat biking, you like a little bit of pack, right? Even once the groomer goes over the trail, if it can be a little tacky, you have more grip, just like dirt, just like dry dirt versus a little wet dirt like loam, or just like a nice tacky dirt is more grippy than like a sandier dirt. When snow is super, super, super cold, it's obviously lighter and it's harder to groom. So then it's harder to get traction. So that makes the riding more difficult. You fall a lot more, which is certainly part of the fun. But a little, I would say in maybe the low 20s, but it really depends on just like people who ski or snowboard or cross country ski, the type of snow that you get is very different, right? You can have that really crystallized cold snow or that real puffy, heavy, the big flakes where there's more moisture content, and they ride differently. They even when snowboarding feels different on different types of snow, and fat biking feels different on different types of snow. But I think ideally, probably if I can get 20 degrees on some fresh groom, then you don't have to cover all your face. Once you get in 10 and below, anything that's exposed could be a problem. So I like 20s because I can wear regular glasses. I don't have to wear goggles, and I don't have to cover my face. I don't have to do like the neck gaiter, nice light gloves.
That's crazy.
That's probably
insane.
I'm getting
ideal.
cold listening to this.
Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah.
I see Mia and Johnny cringing, and then Sage, you're shaking your head.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
I had a question. I had a question for JT as well. Do you find when the snow is not packed, and especially when it gets a little bit warmer, do you find that a gravel bike actually works better than a fat bike?
Ooh, great question.
It depends. If you're at a place where they are constantly grooming, which more and more places are doing that because they've realized that even smaller trail systems close to me even now are buying these snow dogs and different types of grooming equipment to take care of the trails because they know that they're going to get more people around, and we all know that more bikes means more money and helps the restaurants and the hotels and everything. So people are starting to figure that out, that they can get more use out of the trails in the winter if they groom. Now on a groom trail, if you would try, like you said, like a gravel bike, I don't think you would do very well because you're never going to find the bottom, but you're going to lose all your traction before you find the bottom of that hard packed groom surface. But now if you're talking about like a trail system that, let's say yesterday, the trail system is completely just frozen dirt. Now tonight we get 4 or 5 inches of snow and it's pretty packy. Yes, you would want a skinnier tire because then that skinnier tire is going to cut through that snow and then you'll find dirt underneath, and then that's super fun. That's a very rare situation. But when that happens, like it used to happen around here at some of the local trails, that if we got a quick snow on frozen ground, you could totally go out on skinny tire bike and just thrash the place and have a lot of fun. But so you got to think about what's the base, what is the base that the snow is on top of, and think about what like a groomed run at a ski hill would look like. They groom it every single day. It gets groomed and it gets groomed. So then what's left is a very, very dense packed snow, and a skinny tire doesn't do well on that. But if you use a skinny tire to cut through, that's a different scenario. Hopefully that makes sense.
I would have never thought of that.
And the funny thing, all right, I went from BMX to mountain bikes, never really did anything else, but just recently I got a gravel bike, and there you go. That is going to be my excuse now. If anyone says, well, why don't you buy a fat bike for the 2 days that it snows? I might bust out the gravel bike on the snow. We'll see what happens.
Will you though?
What is it?
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
fat biking's kind of weird because some people are fat bike life. Like that's all they ride. They just ride fat bikes, whether dirt, snow, sand, whatever it is, they ride fat bikes. I'm totally different. I have my fat bikes for specific conditions, and that would be groomed fat bike trails. Anything else, I don't ride them. I don't ride fat bikes because to me, if I'm going to go ride a really good trail system, let's say in the spring or summer, and I'm riding on dirt, to me, the fat bike is not the most fun option. Just for me, I like suspension. I like hitting jumps and drops and all that kind of stuff. And the fat bike's just, for me, that's not the right tool for the job to get the most out of it. But a fat bike used on groomed trails, that's exactly why I have a fat bike, and that's what I seek out when I go on trips all winter long.
Wow. So okay, I know a couple guys. I deal with a lot of the Fazari guys and stuff like that, and they are putting suspension forks on their fat bikes.
Yep, I have one. One of my bikes is set up.
Oh, do you too?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one fat bike that's kind of set up, we'll say like racy, where it's completely head to toe carbon. I wanted it to be the lightest possible thing I could have with a 4-inch tire, for a 27 5x4-inch. But then I have another bike that is my wife's bike, and that one just so happens to fit me pretty well.
Wow,
that one's got a
rides an XL. Nice.
yeah, exactly. She loves it, but that one's got a suspension fork, a shorter stem, wider bars, a dropper post, and a lot wider tires. So that one is for more, let's say, downhill fat biking.
Ask JT how many bikes are in his house.
Yeah. Well, I know he needs space for at least 12 on the walls.
I gave it away. Yeah. Am I the only one here with a dozen bikes? Am I? Like,
I got one.
Is it just me?
3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
See?
There's 11 sitting in here right now.
Wow.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thank you. Fine.
Not
just say you have
counting the one
12.
in the
So
other
then,
shed.
I only count one.
Now, all right. So fat bike conversation, Mia. Well, I know Johnny, you don't have it, but do you do any fat biking out in California, like standy stuff?
No.
Anything worth it or no?
Nope. Not even in the slightest. No. I would like to do it. I went to Mammoth Mountain once, and there's a bunch of people doing fat bikes up there in the snow time. But it's not something that I would normally seek out. I mean, I just discovered e-bikes, so in a way, my world has officially changed. To
The
where
pro e-bike?
I think I have 3 e-bikes in here. I think I have 3. This relay I'm sending back.
Oh, yeah.
Transition sent us this to review. This thing is nice.
Wow.
But it's a lot. It's 170 mile of travel, and that's a lot.
Wow.
But to answer your question, no, I don't think I would. I would try it. But it's not something I would seek out.
Yeah. I'll put out an invitation to anybody, whoever, if you ever really want the fat bike experience, come see me, and we'll set something up. Because I'm telling you, you get the right conditions. And let's say you've been stuck inside for a month already. Let's say you haven't ridden outside in a month, and you get a chance to ride a mountain bike, right, on this beautiful groomed ribbon of trail going through the woods, and it looks like a snow globe, and it's quiet and it's crisp. It is. I'm telling you, it is a situation
now you're making me want to do it.
It's a life changer.
So-
For me,
Yeah.
the first time it changed my life, man. Like I said, it's become so much of a part of just my year of cycling, but the way that the year kind of transitions from one end to the other, it's one of my favorite parts. I get the same rush from, like a really super fun, like flow trail, where you're going, 20 miles an hour and ripping berms and jumps and doing all that. That's one end of the spectrum to me. And then the other is this serene crispiness through the snow globe of winter up north here in Wisconsin.
It's the snow globe that's selling me.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Maryland, and when it snows, it's like noise canceling stuff.
Yes, 100%.
Everything is so quiet.
Yes,
and you're just with you and the trail ahead.
I'm telling you.
But what gets me is that you keep saying grooming. Like there's people that actually like create these trails through the woods.
Yeah.
Through the snow.
I can't even get enough.
They'll use
a regular trail.
Yeah.
Now they groom the mountain bike trails. So the same trail that you would ride in the summer, you would ride it in the winter, and they just they'll take these snow. They call them snow dogs. There's a bunch of different brands out there, but a lot of people will also use like a snowmobile with an attachment off the back, and they'll ride the snowmobile through the mountain bike trails, and behind it is a perfectly groomed trail that you can ride your bike.
I think
on.
I've actually seen that on your channel.
There's a few. I have a lot of fat bike videos.
Right.
I would recommend my 5 steps of fat biking video. That would probably show you some of the best conditions.
Now you ride fat bike quite a bit too, don't you, Sage?
I do.
Not even just in the snow. Like you actually just ride it for fun.
I ride it all year round. I find that the fat bike, just like JT, I have my fat bike set up as a pretty lightweight, fast machine. I got lucky in that the fat bike that I have is pretty aggressive geometry for being a fat bike, and so I put a front suspension on it. I'm running 4-inch tires, and it's actually lighter than my full suspension bike. It comes in at like 27, 28 pounds. So I ride that thing all year round, and it's such a different experience. And I think the common misconception that most people make is that, oh, fat bikes, that's a lot of suspension. It's actually not. It's the tires they're like giant balloons. And so what ends up happening is if you don't have suspension, you just end up bouncing around the trail. The tire does not soak up anything. It actually enhances whatever is on the trail. So I think in the snow, the fat bike is amazing, right? Because one of the things that I love about snow riding is it takes your regular trail that may be rocky, and it smoothed it all out. It becomes like a roller coaster almost. It's completely flat. So an actual fat bike with no suspension, like a true fat bike, does really well in those conditions. You know, when the snow melts, that's when you really want that suspension, because that front fork will soak up some of the bounce out of the tires.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
That's incredible.
I've never thought about it. Revel, who I ride for, they have a titanium fat bike.
Ooh, man.
That's what I would like to get my hands on.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you guys are talking about it, I'm going to be like, please send me one of these so I could try it out in Southern California.
Yeah. And then you have to fly out to Wisconsin to test it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These tires are huge. I'm looking it up on their website right now. The tires are gigantic.
That's incredible.
So do you guys have like trails that shut down in the winter due to any of like the conditions, or because they're so well groomed, either JT or Sage, like do the trails just stay open and you can go anywhere, or do you have to change what trail system you're going to depending on the year?
You want to go first?
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
So great question, Aaron. And there aren't trails that actually close, but the biggest problem that we have here, and I'll just say the entire Northeast in PA, this occurs, is the damage that occurs to the trails. So what happens is they don't close into the trails, but what you'll find is there are a lot of irresponsible riders that go out when you have freeze thaw, right? So when the snow gets slushy, and it just creates these massive ruts and holes in the trail. And so while they don't close the trails, because a lot of the trails are multi-use around here, I kind of wish that people would just have a little bit more common sense, because the same people that rut out those trails are the same people that don't show up on trail work days. So
yes,
it's kind of like, okay, glad you had fun, but you just ruined it for everybody else, So it kind of, if you're new to riding, like, yeah, I guess you have a little bit of excuse, but as you start to ride more, ask around, right? And figure out when the appropriate time is. I know when it gets to freeze thaw, like toward the end of fall, toward the end of winter, you got to get out early. You got to get out early in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, catch that freeze. Because once it starts to thaw, it just turns to mush. And then you just ruin the trail for everybody.
Yeah. No, not to jump in for JT answered any of this too, but see, it's not just an experience as well, but different territories. I know we've talked about it a couple times, Sage, because Sage is close enough to us. We're talking about doing some riding. We've ridden together before. We're checked, but in South Jersey, it's very sandy soil, I guess, to where everyone comes to us in the winter because, or during rainstorms. You can ride in the pouring rain. You can ride anytime because the water just kind of drains, and you don't leave really that bad of ruts. Now, there are some places that will, but I don't think about freeze thaw where I am. I don't think about, even though it's cold, but it's just because the type of dirt we have, and
Sand.
sand. So now that kind of comes to now, Johnny, I know where you are. It's a lot of rock and wooden features and stuff. So you don't have to worry about water. But me, I know California,
crocodiles,
wet,
alligators,
alligators. Yeah,
tomato.
Yeah.
No, there was one.
No, sorry. I keep going.
Oh, you're good. No, but do you have to worry about like the wet conditions and stuff, trail conditions out?
Yeah. So the last 4 days has been raining nonstop. Last week too, San Diego was flooded. I literally just got a text from my dad's partner going, "We just heard on the news there's going to be what was the word he used? A river something." He said an atmospheric river hitting California.
Yes. Just heard about that.
I'm like, yeah, that's right. It is. But so we haven't been able to ride for a couple of weeks, but I mean, it's just a couple of weeks. Although I was in Santa Cruz last weekend and it dried just enough for us to do like one trail.
Oh.
So I got to experience Santa Cruz steeps, which is steep.
Yeah, very cool. Great.
If you guys ever ridden in Santa Cruz, what?
Appropriately named.
Yeah, we were with a ton of Santa Cruz people. And actually, I rode with a guy that lives in Madison in Wisconsin, and he's moving to Santa Cruz. He's their new CEO. He's moving to Santa Cruz. Yeah. So he's like, no, my kids are going to love it out here. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're in California. Like riding 365 days a year. They do have those days, though, where the conditions are pretty bad. And then you get silly people who go out and mess it up. Right. So we try and not encourage that.
We get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, like for Florida and Southern California, is it like, well, Florida, I know it gets really hot in the summertime, like kind of flipping it from the winter side. Like, do you not go out during those times?
See, that's the funny thing is like winter is my time.
Yeah.
Winter's my time. I mean, I rode with you guys when you came down.
It was a beautiful 60-degree day.
I was dying. It hurt. Like my ears hurt. I wanted to ride in my Uggs.
Your lungs are cold.
So cold.
Say, man, if it were warmer, I'd do better. You know, but
Brian was in a bathing suit and shirtless. He was like, "This is beautiful out."
you know.
But I had just gotten over a cold, so and I'm not making excuses. I usually, break a lot, but I rode a few weeks ago at another trail system down here, and you talk about rain. We get tons of rain down here, and it gets to the point where they say, "Please don't ride today." You'll get Instagrams or Facebooks or whatever you're on from the trails saying, "Please don't ride. Avoid these trails."
Yeah.
Virginia Key, where you rode, there's a lot of wooden features, but all the other trails, I mean, they'll be underwater.
Wow.
I did the little very slow, skinny. For me, it was a skinny. I don't know if you saw the video of me doing it, but there's a reason why that's there. It's usually there's like 5 or 6 inches of water. Wow. It's like a little itty bitty pond.
Oh wow.
But yeah, just the difference. You guys brought me on for winter riding. I love it.
Yeah.
But you asked.
I know,
summer.
right?
Summer is when I'm like, I can't. I've done it. It's 98% humidity.
Mm-hmm.
It's 95 degrees outside, and I see people do it, and they get up early in the morning. I'm not a morning person.
We had one day like that where we tried to go like 4th of July. It was really, really hot like that. And it was like we stopped, and that's when the sweat came. And I was like, no, just keep moving. Even if you're keep moving.
Keep going.
You bend over and push on your helmet, it just pours out.
Oh, that's so gross. I've seen people do that. I get so grossed out by that.
Funny, I just went on to a trail. I just started going back to a trail where I first learned how to mountain bike, and it's not much. It's not a difficult trail. It's called Oletah River State Park. There are a couple trails that are very technical, but a lot of it's very easy. But you could feel the humidity coming off the ground.
Wow.
I do a backpack. I don't know what you guys wear for hydration, but I have like 3 liters of water on my back most of the time, and I can go through it halfway through a ride. It's during the summer. It's ridiculous. So I'll ride around and stuff during the summer, but I do take a break.
Well, you got to burn off all those Mai Tais that you drink all day, right?
That's great.
On the beach. Oh, sorry, you don't go to the beach. Wherever you drink your Mai Tais and pina coladas.
It is yacht club at the yacht club.
Or the yacht club. There you go. Yeah. On your boat. Yeah. There you go.
Parents, homeless people can join that. No, but it's so funny that you can give me like winter riding. I should just go sit out there for a minute.
Well, that's what, there's a reason. I think I told you now. Listening, we picked people from around the country. So again, we have East Coast, West Coast, North and South. Like I wanted to know, this country is so huge. It's
winter here. Just because it doesn't snow, doesn't mean it's not cold. My heater clicked on last night. Or something.
No.
Now I know, like Miami,
62 degrees.
Yeah, Miami's like seen flurries once in like the last 100 years or something. Like
100 years.
California ever get any snow or?
Oh yeah, Southern California. Yeah, Big Bear right now got hit with a ton of snow. Where Johnny and I, when he came to do Ride and Shine up at Lake Arrowhead, it's like there's a ton of snow over there right now, especially because it's been raining so much. So like 2.5 hours for me.
Yeah.
No, that's further north. But 2.5 hours for me, I can go snowboarding or skiing or whatever, and then I can surf because I'm 10 minutes from the beach, or I could go, I love California. Like I I miss Australia a lot. I miss my family a lot. But the last time I was there in April, everything was so far from Australia. Like it takes you 24 hours to get to Europe. It gets you 16 hours to get here. It takes you, 20 hours to get to South America. Like it's just, I love it to pieces, but it's so far from everything. And it's so expensive unless you're going to Asia.
Wow.
Like I love California. I mean, I want to come visit all y'all now.
Yeah.
I've never been to New Jersey. I've never been to Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. I've been to Miami. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to step back foot in Miami again.
It's not on South Beach, right? No.
Come, everybody come.
I mean, they let Johnny in there. If they let Johnny in there, they let anybody in there.
JT. What's interesting is I lived in California. She's right. It's a fascinating place where you can go surf, and then you go a little bit and you can go to the mountains and ride bike or go this way and it's a fantastic state. It wasn't for me, but I think SoCal is.
Yeah, Southern California is pretty bomb.
I like it.
We got to get out there.
Nope.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. We have a spare room.
And riding winter, I'm sorry, I'm just a podcast.
Yeah, Johnny's gone into like host mode.
We're like podcast.
I was wondering how this is going to work. If he was going to give it to me.
I made the mistake of putting him in the center too.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we all gotta look at Johnny. What's next? Johnny, what now?
Mr. Sage, I was riding in Connecticut. You ride in Connecticut, right?
I love Connecticut.
I rode winter. I rode the day after Thanksgiving to burn off all that turkey. It didn't work. I still have it in my stomach. You know, I rode, and that was ears hurting. You ever get that cold? Like JT, JT's like
talking about.
I love it.
What is this? I don't know.
So my ears hurt.
Like cold ears? Your ears get cold?
I wore pants.
Why? What's you gotta get that looked at. You should get that looked at if your ears are getting
JT,
cold.
Aaron had a good question. What do you wear? Are you wearing like Vortex protected gear? No, it's not Vortex. Gore-Tex.
Gore-Tex.
Like,
there you go. Yeah.
Vortex.
I think the best way to describe it is like if you look at what like snowboarders or skiers wear, it's just fitted more, and it's a little bit lighter. It's somewhere between what you'd see like a cross country skier wear and like a snowboarder. So it's still very techy clothing, and a lot of Gore-Tex, because then you get it's the same theory where you want like a moisture wicking base layer, and then some kind of a mid layer based on temperature, and then your top layer is your Gore-Tex, something that's windproof and waterproof. But it's like I said, it's just kind of tailored for cycling, where it's a little bit more fitted, but it's very similar type of gear to snowboarding. Even my boots, I wear and it's like 45 North is like one of the most popular brands for a lot of the gear that winter riders wear. It's probably one of the most popular. I'd say that, or like Gore, or Rafa makes a lot of winter stuff too. But like the boots, even the boots that I wear are so similar to my snowboarding boots. The only difference is that my cycling boots are a little bit more flexible, and then they have the clip on the bottom for my clip-ins.
Wow,
cycling boots.
What about you?
That's interesting.
Not
cycling sandals.
I actually made clipless flip-flops in a reel.
I know you did.
Okay.
You did. Let's say, do you bundle up as much? Because I know your temperatures are, I guess, closer to ours. We do get the cold times, but not quite as bad. But what do you wear?
Yeah, I don't know who's listening, but winter cycling is literally about layers, right? And everyone's personality is completely different. Some people can deal with cold really well, and some people can't. It's crazy, maybe, but like I'll wear shorts into the teens, and probably only do pants unless it's under the teens and the snow is heavy. But the top is where I kind of dress more appropriately, I guess. So I have like a thermal, like Under Armour, and then I'll wear like a flannel that has like a liner in it. But in general, the rule of thumb is you want to start cold. If you're a little bit cold at the start, then that's perfect. Now, I don't mean like cold like you're shivering, but I mean like just like, ooh, that's a little bit cold. That's the perfect outfit because
why is that?
Because within 15 minutes you're sweating. And so
oh my God. Yeah.
if you have layers, that's the best way. You can start to remove layers. And so I think what a lot of people out here do is they wear a windbreaker, right? So that's the perfect one that you can actually remove, pack it down, and just like throw it into your pocket. So if you're just getting into winter riding, don't feel like you need special gear. You know, like you can literally go out in shorts. I wouldn't advise it until you tried it. But if you don't have like special snow pants, just put on a pair of yoga pants. Put on a pair of yoga pants and then put your shorts on top of it.
Because I have a bunch of them. Yeah.
Well, listen, I used to borrow my wife's yoga pants. Like who knows? Like you can't tell if you put shorts on top. Like you can't tell. They're just black yoga pants. You don't need special shoes, but if you really get into winter riding, then yeah, you're gonna need special shoes. You know, but until then, get a nice pair of thermal socks. Get a nice pair of thermal socks and put a toe warmer in there, 2 if you need it, and that's how you start. And then if it's like, yeah, this really was fun. You know, you do like an hour or whatever.
That's crazy.
And then go get yourself a pair of good winter cycling shoes. You know, get yourself a proper winter top, but you don't need any of that to start. And that's the nice thing.
That's crazy. I just went out earlier. I had this sweatshirt on. I had my windbreaker. I had my thick gloves. My wife had like a thing covering her ears. And I'm like, I'm going to be in the podcast later talking about winter riding. She's like, good, because it's freaking cold. And I was like, they're not going to say that.
It's cold today. Like
wearing them right now, Johnny. Got them on right now.
God, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I totally get it. Like even what Johnny was saying with the ears, I have the same problem. My ears get really cold. So like I have this thing that I'll like put over them and then the helmet on the top when it's really bad. And I'm like, I just need that or I'll get an earache the whole time. So like
I'm actually the same. Yeah.
And then like I try to do the thing where it's like, okay, I start off a little cold because I know I'm gonna warm up. And then it's like 45 minutes into the ride and I'm like, man, I wish I would really warm up. Like my lungs hurt because I'm still breathing in cold. When is it not gonna feel cold anymore?
Yeah.
So Aaron, if you're interested in getting into winter riding, there are a lot of tips that you can utilize. And one of them is, I think someone mentioned a gaiter. Those are fantastic, right? The gaiter. But the best trick that I can tell you is take that gaiter, take your gloves, take your shoes, and while you're driving to the trailhead, put them on top of the heater. Like put your defrost on and shove all that stuff on top of the heater. And then when you get to the trailhead, you slap that sucker on and oh my God, it's so nice.
I do that with my heart rate button. That's the worst thing when it's cold. Putting on a cold heart rate monitor. You don't do that? Oh, Johnny's just making faces up there, but
Johnny, that's what your doctor does when you go there. They check your heart.
I just have my watch that does it. Got the Garmin
to go around, and they are the coldest thing, and that's the worst feeling ever. Putting that cold thing around your chest when you're
Nope.
Yep. Tune in Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can cut glass with those things.
Oh, that's so funny. Maybe we just have to actually get to warm up while we're riding.
Yeah.
So now it's your podcast.
No, what's going on, Johnny?
Johnny, what do we do now? What's next?
What's up, Johnny? Wait, this way.
Well, let me tell you.
This way.
Yeah. Now, Brian and Aaron, what do you guys do specifically for winter riding? I mean, I know Brian he was down here, it was 60 some degrees out. My lungs hurt, my ears hurt, everything hurt. But up where you're at, how do you deal with it? I mean, do you guys have riding boots?
No.
Okay.
So again, where we get cold, but for me, I guess I'm a little bit more adapted to it since I work home remodeling, so construction. So like I am outside a lot or in and out, that kind of stuff. So I hate it. I do not like the cold, but I'm willing to go deal with it, kind of thing. So I found certain layers that do work. I wear the same shoes year round. I wear the same pants I wear year round. I don't know what you're talking about. Shorts up to 14. I wear pants year round. Yeah. No one sees my legs ever. In fact, they are the whitest thing you will ever. Now.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
But the biggest thing is the coaxing to want to go out in it, and that's where we struggle. It's like you get home from work, you finally get warm, and they're like, all right, do you really want to go back out in the cold? And that's the biggest struggle.
That's the thing. Like, I actually need him to like kind of give me a push, like, and talk me into it, because I go through this like weird phase for a couple months, like after the holidays, and then it's like I go into hibernation mode where it's cold out, all the holiday stuff is done, and I'm like, I really just want to sit on the couch with my bag of chips and the blanket, and nobody talks to me. I'm gonna play some video games, like, and I just like I don't do anything. And then he'll be like, well, let's go for a ride. And I'll be like looking outside. Do we really want to?
How important is our marriage?
How long are we going for? All right. You know, the sunshine will help sometimes, but we don't get a lot of that this time of year.
What about Zwift? Anybody else on Zwift?
I used to be, but I got so bored.
I used to train fairly heavily and had it. And in fact, it's set up in my shed right across. I'm looking at it. It's beautifully holding up some of my helmets and other random things.
Yeah, clothes drying rack. Yeah.
I've tried getting on it again recently. I will suffer the cold and go for a ride over doing that, but there are definite times I need to do that.
Yeah. I've really come to enjoy it. I'll save a lot of YouTube content, and some of the best YouTube content that I consume is while I'm on the trainer watching YouTube and on Zwift.
So you are subscribed to us. Good.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's where most of it comes from. Yeah, right. But for me, it's just to put in an hour like every other day or something like that is not terrible. Like I said, I'll once I see some good YouTube videos pop up, I'll be like, I'll watch that tomorrow. And I'll save them for an hour or so Zwift ride. But to me, that it's come a long way. I used to, I tried to have like a indoor trainer many years ago, and it was just awful. Like those old like magnetic ones were horrible. And they've come a long way. This whole Zwift thing I got into it last year, and I'm into it. I think it's kind of a good option when you're in the season in between being able to ride and summertime. You know what I mean? That's I don't know. It's a good option. Wasn't sure if anybody else is into it, but I recommend it.
Yeah,
I tried it, but like it just isn't a thing that I could put my mountain bike. I had a road bike on it. And the saddle was so incredibly uncomfortable that I couldn't go any more than 40 minutes. And it wasn't until 4 months ago, once I finally got my hands on women specific saddles, that I was like, oh my God, this is a freaking game changer. So I'd like to test it out now with that, where I can withstand it for longer periods of time. But I like the idea of it. It's one of those things where I like the idea of it.
I love thinking about it.
Right? I bought my wife a Peloton just later during COVID because she had, the gym and stuff. So I bought her a Peloton so she can do the yoga and all that other stuff and ride and work out. So I got on it. But again, like Mia, it's just, I don't like pedaling and not moving anywhere.
It's not normal.
Weird. There isn't.
It's not normal.
Theme on it.
It's not bike riding. It's something else, but it is similar enough, I guess.
You get a fun instructor, and you're like, "Yeah, we're doing it," and then it's good for the lungs and stuff like that. But I have to be. I got to be on something and moving. It's just weird sitting in this corner, staring at a screen up against a. What do you call that thing? It's a closet. It's facing a closet. So it's funny. I don't like pedaling if I'm not moving.
Yeah. Anyone do? I know Mike just posted up here. That's a great idea. It's funny. Like I said before, I was training. I did indoor racing stuff for a while, and I had a trainer. So I had specific exercises to do and whatnot, and a lot of it was. And I tell you, the trainer riding the bike, it isolates the legs too. Because if I'm on a trail, and I've even realized that, like, I pump a lot. I use my body momentum to get through the trail. It's amazing how little you can pedal. On that, you have to just keep pedaling, and it's a huge difference. But
Oh,
a buddy of
totally,
mine, a buddy of mine's still doing some of the training stuff. So the other day we linked up to do a ride together, just because, trying to make it entertaining. That's a great idea.
That is. Yeah, I think, Johnny, you should, for the month of March, how about all your podcasts you do while you're on the trainer?
I like Robert.
This is Johnnie U.
And drinking your little pina coladas at the same time.
That's gonna be a mess.
Just, I'll lose. I don't have that many subscribers already. I'm gonna lose them all.
It might be the opposite. It might be the opposite.
I would tune in to watch that.
I'm saying,
I'll wear like a white tank, like a wife beater tank top.
There you go.
Lean into the Florida stereotype.
Hey, Mia, I got a question for you.
Yes.
It sounds like you can ride all year round in somewhat comfortable temperatures. Does that mean, like, for me, like, I use the winter as my off season, like, to give my body an actual break? If you can ride all year round, how do you build in an off season then?
That's a really good question.
Oh,
I don't think I do. I think I just ride.
Wow.
What I did do last year, though, was I prepared as best I could for park season, because it was my first time actually going to a downhill park. I had built a bike that was ready for it. So I thought, how do you prepare for park season, right? And for me, it's the endurance of just standing on your bike for an extended period of time with focusing on my core. And I didn't react, and I had no clue how I wasn't going to be able to move the next day. So I went to a park. I spent like 8 hours at a park. And then the next day I'm like, what? I actually have abs? Like, what is happening? So this year I started doing, like a month ago, I started doing an actual exercise catered for mountain bikers to help with all of that, like core and lower leg and stuff. I guess that's what I do. And in the summers, we usually go to late summer, fall, we usually go to Sedona a lot. So that's a lot of technical climbing and technical riding. And if you haven't gone to Sedona, I highly recommend it. So I do that just after park season. I start prepping for that. So yeah, I don't think it really is like, which is odd, because we did a post on the website recently with someone from Colorado, and she's like, oh, let's do a post on winter riding and what people can do the exercises when they're cooped up at home. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'll do it, but I can still go out and ride my bike. I feel kind of bad for the people that can do it.
Now, you say parks. Do you actually have like lift service bike parks by you? Or okay, I see a lot of pedal up stuff. So we have a lot of lift service by us. Yeah.
So Sky Park is the only pedal one. It's like an enduro park where you got to pedal up and then come down, which is why there's a lot of e-bikes there. But Big Bear and Snow Summit are both lift, because that's like right now it's snowing over there right now. So there's a ton of people going. Mammoth is probably 5 hours north from me.
That's not bad.
That I haven't been to Mammoth yet, but that's a lift park. But I want to go to the cool stuff. I mean, not to say this isn't cool, but I want to go to like Angel Fire and some of these places in New Mexico and Wyoming, and like really experience it. I just got my wife a high travel bike so she can start doing more stuff. So hopefully we can hit some parks this year.
You go to Wyoming, call me.
How about you just come to New Jersey?
Or that.
Yeah, we can go to New Jersey. We could do that too. You guys have like Mountain Creek over there. Like Mountain Creek, I've heard is the killer.
Mountain Creek and Blue Mountain are too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's what's great about all this right here is there's so many different mountain biking experiences and trails, and it's so different. Like Brian, you rode Virginia Key.
Yes.
With me, way ahead of me. But it's so funny. It's just like I ride here, then I went to Sky Park. I was riding with Mia in Sky Park. It's you ride up and you do a lot of downhill, and then you go to Jackson Hole. I've been to Connecticut. The terrain, it's what's great about the sport, I think, is that everything is so different.
Yeah.
It's amazing the different, like she's talking about like your legs, like going downhill. For me, the next day I'm walking like a cowboy.
For me, it's the hands. I can't grip that long.
Yeah.
Every time I've been to
Yeah.
Whistler, it's like you get halfway down the mountain and you just have to stop and you're like,
Yeah,
Come
see,
out.
I'm not. So
Yeah.
yes, that's it. We're going to Whistler in July for Crankwork. So that's
the
what I'm
best.
going to have to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Is like,
Oh yeah.
I've never ridden there before, and I'm a little
Crankworks.
intimidated, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we
Both
wanna go
both
'cause
times I
it's-
went to Whistler was for Crankworks. It is the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time women are competing in the slopestyle competition, so we have
That's
to be there
incredible.
to
Sweet.
document
That's
that.
badass. Okay, that's
So-
That's
awesome.
gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
gonna be cool.
such a cool event, such a cool place. It's
Are you guys
There's nothing
going
like
to the
it.
Sedona Mountain Bike Fest?
Not this
Any of you?
year.
Come.
Maybe
Are you really possible?
That's awesome.
Mm,
possibility.
If it's
You-
a possibility, go.
go.
Can I just tell you this right now?
Amazing.
I want to go just to mix it up with everybody.
Mhm.
But the riding, like I ride so differently here.
I think
Okay, I'll tell you what.
there's so many different trails
Just-
though.
Ride javelina
Johnny,
and have fun all
Johnny,
day.
when
You're
is
fine.
Sedona Bike Fest?
No,
It's
it's in March.
March.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of events
Okay.
this year, and we have a co-ed ride because last year Joey and Mark like snuck into our women's ride. They're like, "Oh, we happened to run into you over here.
Look who it is.
Look who showed up!" And I was like, "Okay, so this year we're going to do a co-ed ride. So you guys should come on the Saturday. It's going to be awesome."
Because Lauren keeps bugging me about wanting to go, and I said, well, maybe Bentonville.
Yeah, too crowded. There's a lot of pedaling.
You know
in
what? I
Bentonville.
feel like it is.
There is a lot of pedaling in Bentonville.
There's
Yes.
a lot
Sedona,
of like
agree with you.
e-bike for
Here.
Bentonville.
I vote Sedona.
I just want to go back to California so Joey can get me an e-bike.
Hey,
Yeah,
JT,
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
you all have e-bikes?
I do.
Not yet.
No.
Certainly will. I certainly will, but I do not right
Yeah.
Am I
E-bikes are
allowed
a
to?
game changer.
now. Yeah.
E-bikes
Yeah,
are a
I'm
game
pushing for it
changer.
right now.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait for that day. I cannot wait for that
Complete
day that I
game
have an e-bike.
changer.
I wonder how they do in the snow.
Probably amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
don't
but you're
know
not
if they-
really supposed to get the motor wet for an extended period of time. So
Oh, wow. There's that. Okay. Ooh.
I'd be
I don't
curious.
know about that.
Oh,
The
that's-
problem with e-bikes, there's all of my favorite places that I would want an e like on the East Coast. We have Pisgah, DuPont, like down in North Carolina
Yeah.
area. They're not allowed. Like they're the places that I
Yeah.
want one for the climbs. Everything else
Yeah.
around here,
No kidding. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
making it. So yes, would it be easier? Absolutely. But so far, when those places open up, then absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
with permission.
Is there
With
room
permission.
to get rid
Well,
of?
oh,
No.
we don't need that garage
There's room.
door. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same in Sedona. They don't allow e-bikes because
Yeah,
it's
Sedona
it's
either.
federal land, and I can understand the reasoning why.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a few friends of mine who have disabilities, and I've encouraged them to use it, and they're scared because they think they're going to get fined or whatever. And I'm a lawyer, so I did a lot of research on this, and it is a gray area for now because technically you're
Interesting.
discriminating against a disabled person who has the right to be on the e-bike and has the right to ride. But ultimately, the courts haven't decided on anything yet. So
Mm.
I'm that squeaky wheel. I'm like, just do it. Just do it. Just tell them
Yeah.
you're discriminating. You know, see how far it gets.
Someone just posted something about that the other day. Some guy was like, hey, you can't be up here on an e-bike. And he was like, I'm handicapped.
Yeah, I mean,
How can you argue that?
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
They're so much
Anyway.
fun.
they're so much fun. E-bikes are so much fun. When used
Sage, you were
responsibly.
going to ask something, right? Sage, were you asking something a moment ago?
yeah,
JT?
I wanted to run that same question by JT with a small twist.
Ooh, I love a twist. Twist away.
So you do have a very big off season because of all the snow. Why is it important to take off in the winter?
You mean why is it important to like not ride for a while?
Yeah.
Well, I try not to, honestly. I mean, that's why I try to do so many trips north to go find the snow. I mean, I was supposed next week I was supposed to be in next week I was supposed to be up in Michigan, and that got canceled because the snow is not good. Even in the trip that we took over New Year's, again heading north, normally that's a snow trip, but this time around it was a frozen dirt trip. I'm not For me, I'm such a creature of habit, and I have a pretty, I guess there are a lot of things that I do I get a little addicted to, like cycling, YouTube, stuff like that. So for me, I don't want to not ride for more than a couple days. I think that's why I also do Zwift so much, is because if I don't ride for let's say 3 days, it's like there's something not right with me. I have to do something about it. So if that means just spin and sweat in one spot, that's what I do. But that also means that I'll drive 5, 6, 7 hours north to go find snow, just so I could go out, get outside, ride my bike, and let those good things happen.
I'm not afraid of a road trip. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to have an off season. I would prefer not to have an off season. I want my cycling to go 365. That's the goal anyways, but there's certainly a lot of benefits to some time off. And I think maybe twice last year I took a week off and found that I felt better back on the bike after a week off, especially during training for the race that I do every year. So there's benefits to time off. It's hard for me to take time off. Like when I do take a week off, it's not easy. Like I'm thinking about it a lot. Like, hey, I should be riding right now. But and I think it's just because it's been something that's so a part of who I am now. Like I ride every 2 or 3 days. That's just it. And I've been doing it for year after year after year after year. And it's just part of what makes me tick. You know what I mean? So like even when I broke my collarbone this year, I was riding I think 10 days afterwards because I just I had to outside even.
Yeah.
Wow. I was on the trainer. I think a week after, but I was outside I think 10 days later. To my detriment because it's still not healed. So it's not good in a lot of ways. It's not good what I'm doing. So let's be clear on that. But I think in general, I just try not to have an off season. And that's just who I am. Like that's just what works for me. I know that there's benefits to time off. I don't work well that way because I'm a rhythm guy. I'm a habit guy, but hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wish I did have that. I get addicted to things very easily. So it's one of those things into that mindset. When I was training for racing, it was the only thing that happened. So if I was missing, I would forget about everything else just to get on the bike to do the training session or to do whatever. And it was, but as soon as I stopped that, or actually an injury stopped that, but it's either all or nothing. Because then once you stop, it's really easy to say, you know what?
Yeah.
All right, I don't feel like me, or I don't have this to go for it. And then, all right, next thing you know, it's 6 months since the last time you logged into Zwift, and you're like, hey, what's going on? It's you drop off.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I can't ride any trails once it's like 6:30 here, everything closes. They're all county, city owned. But I would get on my bike. Even when I met my wife, I said, this is part of my life. I would get home, change, get on my bike, and then just go ride on the street. Like I had to be on a bike. This past year had been a bad year. I didn't ride nearly as much as I used to. And for whatever reason, I don't know. And I guess maybe like Brian said, you stop and then you miss a day. And then you're like, I'll get up tomorrow, and then you don't.
It's too easy. Yeah.
And I didn't even ride trails that much that last year, as much as I used to. And it's long, sad story. Not long enough. Short. My riding buddy passed away January 1st, and I didn't realize like near the end of the year, I'm like, I didn't ride that much this year on the trails. I mean, I'm doing this podcast, but it was funny. It was just like, I didn't have a buddy to ride with. That's probably why I always said, I'll just miss a day, whatever. But this year I'm pushing forward, like you said, because it's so easy to just go tomorrow.
Yeah. Inertia. Inertia is a real thing, man.
You just keep going. It's got to be part of your life.
I think that's what would happen to me if I lived in a spot like you guys where it gets kind of cold, because I would totally be that person where it's like, no, it's too cold. Like Candace was just saying earlier, I was getting a text from her the other day, and she's like, it's been 17 days since my last bike ride. And I was like, shit, girl, because she's in Bentonville, so that's not cool. I could not last in that type of environment, honestly.
No,
I don't
I'd
know
be
how
in a
you guys
car
do it.
and driving somewhere to go ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take the trip.
Yeah.
Sage,
Uh,
you're also a runner as well.
Yeah.
Does all this? So now we're talking about fitness and getting out on your bike and getting going and moving and stuff like that. Sorry, Brian and Aaron.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
We had a long conversation before this. It's all good.
Yeah.
Just so you know, partway through, I'm going to take over. This is a.
We're waiting. We're waiting.
Yeah. Does that slow down?
Anytime now.
Yeah, Johnny. The off season. I guess I'll buck the horse here.
Off season for you.
I need it. I absolutely need it. I'm going through some stuff right now. So if you look at my Strava, it's kind of lame. But normally I try when I'm in the heart of my season, I try and get like 5 to 6 activities a week. So it's probably 2 runs, 4 rides. I go pretty hard and build in probably like 1 recovery ride, maybe 1 recovery run per week. The off season is absolutely critical for me. I remember when I was a younger man, I by the time this, I wasn't taking time off and I wasn't doing recovery rides. I wouldn't take like a week or 2 off. And by the time the summer hit, my legs I couldn't produce power. You go through this, it's called dead legs, and it's different from bonking. It's different from bonking. You get on a ride. And I remember I was in Virginia and it was the dead of summer. I mean, it was like Johnny, like you were saying, super hot, super humid. And I got to this top of the climb and I wasn't bonked. I could breathe, I could do everything, but my legs could not produce power. And I turned to my buddy, Dan, I said, I don't know what to do. Like I cannot move anymore. And that was the wake-up call that I needed. That trip ended up being a disaster for me because once your leg, you go through that fatigue, that the dead legs, you were forced to be off the bike and then you've kind of ruined your season. So the way that I've kind of constructed how I ride and consequently run, as you were asking about, is I really do try and take like 2 weeks off. And I try and use the winter because it's harder to get bigger rides. I build that 2 weeks in and it sucks. It sucks to, first of all, it sucks to take the 2 weeks because I love being outside and doing things, but it's also really hard to get started again. But I just keep thinking about that trip in Virginia. And I don't want that to happen. Like I don't race, but like, I really enjoy riding hard and I love going as far as I want without having to worry about being, exhausted or whatever. And to be able to enjoy that stuff, I need to give my body the respect that it deserves. And for me, the off season is absolutely critical.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. That's great. And like you do have that recovery you need to do in my setup. When I was actually training for the race and stuff, it was, again, during the week, you had 2 days usually of either soft recovery, something like that, usually not completely off, but light, but then once a month. So it would be a 3-week on. The 4th week was a recovery week. Yeah. And then, so that was kind of the rotation. So you had a couple days, but then that week, and it's amazing when you come back after that week of recovery, it's incredible how much stronger you are. So actually being off makes you stronger. So it was a really,
Brian,
do it anymore.
Brian, that's exactly, I mean, I don't want to get into the science and bore everybody to death, but like that recovery period is actually when your muscles heal, right? So if you think about it in like weightlifting terms, right? Like you like weightlift and then you do like a max out, right? You're purposely tearing your muscles. Well, if you don't give your muscles the time to heal, then that tear never heals. And so you can't actually get stronger. So using that time, that week off, right? To let your muscle heal, you actually get stronger. And that's what's crazy, right? And that's a little bit different than the 2 weeks off or the 3 weeks off that you take at the end. That's not healing so much as just overall healing, just mentally, the whole body healing. But like building in recovery weeks during your on season, however you say it, that's actually when you get stronger. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
That's great.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Okay, now with me, like you said, you pretty much ride all the time except for your, park season, stuff like that. But are you constant throughout the week, or do you have enough breaks kind of throughout the week?
As much as I can, not as much as I would like to, because I have a 9 to 5 as well as trying to do the network. So I wake up really early. I just do my weight training, work on the network. I go to my 9 to 5, and then I try now since winter, it gets dark at 5 o'clock at night. So sometimes I try to sneak out. My boss is super flexible. So if I can sneak out at 3 in the afternoon and come back and finish stuff, I'll do so. But definitely on the weekends. The weekends we are out at least 4 or 5 hours riding, my wife and I, and she's on an analog bike, so I feel bad. I mean, I don't feel bad. She likes to climb. She likes
acoustic.
to climb. I gave her the option. Acoustic, thank you. I gave her the option. I just upgraded one of her bikes so that she could have a high travel bike. And I said, look, you can either get an e-bike or the Santa Cruz Bronson, which is the Juliana Rubion. That's what I ended up getting her. Yeah. She chose the Rubion. She chose the analog bike, because she likes to climb. But that's the thing, like she likes that. So
I used to stay the climber. I used to love. Now I still enjoy them. I just don't have the strength or the stamina to do it like I used to.
I don't have it at all down here.
Crazy though.
Do this.
I love
it's crazy, but it's like I was talking to Robert Biker the other day, and he said the same thing. He's like, I wouldn't use an e-bike as much as I would use something else, and it's all about usage, right? It's like the simplest things that just clicked for me, which was, you're right. If you're not going to use the bike, then why spend $8,000 on something, which is a ton of money? Our sport is not cheap. That you're going to use 3 times, 4 times in the year? Like, what's the point? So, I mean, that's her park bike now. We're actually going to build it this weekend. It's sitting in a box over there. I don't know what I'm doing. But
hey, come to the shed.
Yeah.
No, but it's literally like, it's not even, we have to do everything. We have to cut the fork. We have to route the cables. We have to put the derailleur. We have to.
No.
I have a friend on standby that's a mechanic who knows what he's doing.
But once you do it, you're gonna know that bike inside and out, and now you'll be able to fix all the repairs. You're doing it the right way. That is awesome.
I mean, for the most part, I know what I'm doing. I just don't know what I'm doing when it comes to other things. Like, okay, let me tell you the story real quick.
Yeah, we're good.
So Hannah was here with her husband for 5 days, and now she's a specialized athlete, and I have a specialized bike. So she was on that. The tire was going completely flat. We did not know what was going on. We're like, oh, maybe it's the stem valve. We did all these things. We replaced the stem valve. We put sealant on there. We could not figure it out. No joke. I took it to the shop. This guy calls me up, and he's like, there's a tube in here. I was like, I was laughing so hard. There were 8 mountain bikers at one point. Not one of us could figure out what the heck was going on with this bike.
What's a tube?
Because the logic is, if you can take the stem valve out, it's not a tube, right? That was my logic. Like, if it's a tube tire, the stem valve. Guys, you have no idea how embarrassed yet funny it was when this guy at the shop called me. He's like, well, that Specialized have that. That's like a specialized thing. I had no clue. So that should give you an idea as to how good I am with bike mechanics.
The question is, are you going to record the assembly of the bike?
Ooh, live stream that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Live stream.
Not family friendly.
You're going to see some very Australian friendly cuss words that
really good.
That's maybe funny. A marital spat in the middle of that.
Nice.
So
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, God. No, I know, John, you don't do much of your maintenance either, right?
No, I'm about to drop a reel of me. You were joking with me because I hadn't gone tubeless yet with my new bike because it had tubes and I haven't gotten a flat.
Yeah.
So I got new tires. I got these new Versus tires and I went tubeless. So I figured I'd make a video. You know, I got to create. We're all creators. We have to. It's the law. There's a gun to our head. Mm-hmm. And so I put it all together. And if you wouldn't, I put it on backwards. Don't you hate that? Like I'm sitting there holding the tire up and I'm like, okay, it's going to rotate this way if it's right side up.
Yeah.
So I put it on, but I didn't realize I had the tire in my hand.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Forwards and backwards isn't as clear as you thought it was.
Look, when I got my YT Izzo, you have to put a couple things together. It's like 7 hours later. It's like the handlebars.
Lauren's out there doing it for you.
Lauren's like,
Yeah.
Lauren's cussing at me. She's yelling at me because I'm yelling at the bike, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Supposed to be
I'm
fun.
making a video, so I got my phone on the tripod, and I'm trying to be funny, and I'm just inside. I'm like bawling.
That's actually a really good idea, Johnny.
Smacking the camera away, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Why want to create? All I had to do put handlebars on the tires. But yeah, I'm all thumbs when it comes to tools. My dad never taught me.
For you about the tire thing. The bike that I'm building up a park bike now, because I had a long travel enduro bike. Where we live, I don't use it as much. I like my shorter travel bikes. I like tech stuff. I like climbs, doing the fun things.
Skinny.
So, skinny, like all that stuff. So even the bike park, Mountain Creek, all those things, I ride my trail bike at most of the time. I can do all the features there on my trail bike. But I have this bike sitting here and it's sat for a year and a half unused. It's like, I got to put it together. So I'm building a park bike now. And I got these awesome downhill casing, the new Race Vittoria Mazdas. Like I have Cushcore Pros. They were the tightest tires I have ever dealt with. I'm pretty good at tires. I fought for days. There were a couple days that I actually left it, walked away, came back the next day and tried. I got them on. I had them reversed. I took it off. I put it on again. It leaked because I damaged the tape when I was doing it the second time. So 3 times I had to fight with these stupid tires.
You guys are giving me some great ideas.
I broke 4. The tire thing.
Tire lever, yeah.
I broke 4 of them.
Oh god!
I was trying to get on a snap. And of course, I get the ones that you get on Amazon or whatever. What comes with a tire. Or snap.
I'm just saying, bike
Johnny,
shop, small business owner, they need it. Just drop it off.
True. Yeah.
There you go.
100%. 100%.
Paid professionals. So Johnny, we're doing a mechanics series that we're going to film actually in Sedona. So if you're there, you need to come so we could do a little funny reel of you pretending to put the tire on.
I mean, the tears were flowing.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. You got to go.
That's a good point, though. Like I hadn't even thought about that. I'm stealing all your ideas. It's in my little book.
See, that was worth it, if nothing else.
I messed that up. I was gonna.
It's perfect. Now, Sage, do you do your own maintenance on everything?
It depends on what it is. I'll do tires, but if it's like bushings and suspension stuff, I just take that right to the shop. Yeah, but related to that, I have a question for JT. Do you use the winter season to maintain all of your bikes?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I try to do a bike build once, usually every winter, to have something for the spring. That's cool. So like last year was that titanium bike that I built up, the Thunderhawk. So yeah, winter 100% is normally the build season for me. And I'll go through all. Right now I've done a pretty good job with most of my bikes that I ride a lot, have a lot of similar parts on them. Like that, they all have GX drivetrains. They all have this, they're all 29ers. They're all boost. Like I've gotten, so a lot of stuff is all very interchangeable. The fat bikes, the mountain bikes, the road bikes. So that my road bike, gravel bike, that, I can swap rims and tires between a lot of them. So I've been able to save some money to not have to buy so many specific proprietary parts for a lot of bikes. So I've tried to make my collection a little bit easier to maintain. But yeah, so 100% winter time is a lot of maintenance, a lot of cleaning. Yeah. And usually I'll try to schedule some kind of a build for the winter. This winter is going to be, the build will be the new Dutchman's Den will be the build, but there's not going to be another bike build probably until this summer. I want to do another bike build, but yeah, winter is definitely the time for all the other bikes to come apart and get it once over for sure.
That is a great point about the different parts. When you have multiple bikes, we did it on purpose. In fact, our 2 trail bikes that we ride in most of our videos and stuff like that, we purposely bought the same frames. They are almost identical, minor differences just, but even the wheels. Okay, she has a different model i9 wheel than I do, but they're still both the Hydra hub. Like, so everything is matching from one to the other. My trail bike, cross country bike, and now park bike, all identical components, I guess. Different lengths of things, but it makes things so easy. If I break a lot of deraillers, I am notorious. I destroy deraillers constantly. Skinnies, rocks.
It's all that technical riding you do.
That's it. I have
I
ride. Yep. Yeah. I have the GX. The thing is, any of the transmission or any of that, I think the way that I damage them, I don't trust that. I don't know. We got to see.
Okay, so I think the new T-type is different. The new T-type transmission, I've heard that the way that the pieces are put together in the back of the derailleur are way easier to fix. Yeah, I mean, you would think, right? You're spending $1,500, $2,000 on a stupid piece of plastic. Like, I've heard that it's way easier. So I don't know. Maybe try it and then use that warranty, dude. That's an excuse to
it is. It is supposed to be a more repairable derailleur rather than
repairable.
Repairable. That's the thing. But for the $130 or whatever, you can have a stockpile of GX and swap from the other bike.
I got a lot of GX.
I have a whole pile of them over there. I can
that cassettes
parts from them. Yep.
So. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm just y'all have lots of room for bikes. Brian's been to my house. I have a closet that I keep a bike with my hot water heaters in it. It's underneath the carport, and it's my wife has a bike. We have an e-bike, and then there's my bike, and you can't fit anything else anywhere else.
In the boat.
Yeah, good point.
Keep them
bike rack on a boat. It's bike rack on a. That's a reel right there.
Ooh, that's
a bike rack on a boat.
And then we can go to Virginia Keys on the water. You just pull up the boat, drop
right
the
up
bike.
Oh, that would be a great video.
That would be a good one. And then you go to put the bike up and you drop it in the water accidentally.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, there you go. Write that down.
Yeah, are there gators in that water? No. That's
Johnny, I do have a question for Johnny. Is it okay? Can I ask is it okay if I ask everybody a question right now? Yes? Okay.
As long as it's not math.
No, math are hard. We don't want to do math. We should. I think it's a good idea for us to kind of, since we are creators on similar platforms. I'm sure we've all seen what's kind of going on right now with YouTube. Like the state of YouTube is a little interesting right now, just with everybody quitting and everything like that.
What is that?
What do you guys feel about that? Again, we're all on the same platform. What are your thoughts on being a creator on YouTube right now? How does it affect you at all? Is it changing your mindset in any way? What's your motivation?
Who, me first?
No, you're last, Johnny.
Okay.
You're last. Yeah.
I am brand new to YouTube. I'm going to kick it off. I'm brand new to YouTube, to being a content creator, not watching, because I watch YouTube all the time. People make fun of me. But I honestly haven't really been attuned to that. I've seen little videos pop up where people are like, oh, I'm quitting YouTube or I'm doing this. And I don't think so much it should be about quitting. More if someone's burnt out, awesome. If you want to change what you're doing, like that's your life, right? But like anything in life, whether it's social media or anything, you have to adapt. And if you want to continue in YouTube and you want to adapt, then change what you're doing. I don't know. I mean, I'm just doing what feels right for me. And if that's going to help one person, I'm not in it for the million subscribers. I just really want to put stuff out that's going to help someone. It's corny and cheesy as it sounds. It's legitimately the truth. I don't care about how many people it is. It's just, I don't know, That's just me.
Started in the same thing. Again, we are very new. This channel, even the Instagram, the B&E-MTB, it's very new because Erin's a new rider. She's actually, April will be when we got her trail bike. So less than a year on a real bike.
And
a little over a year on a bike.
Women's Mountain Bike Network.
But that was the thing. We wanted to document the process. Like, so again, for us, that's why we even started out just doing full ride. You can see everything just because we wanted to catch everything as a beginner views the stuff. So they are long, boring,
the hardest thing for me was like with him being so more advanced, like he would talk about riding somewhere and I'm like, can I even ride that? Like, what am I getting into? And I try to like look up videos of it, but the videos I was finding were like these people who are flying through these trails. And I'm like, I don't even see what's happening. And like all this stuff and trying to figure it out. And I'm like, well, what if like, you know, he was like, well, we can record your progress on these trails. And I'm like, well, that might be helpful for other people who are getting started. If they want to go see these places, like, oh, look, it is beginner friendly, or maybe it's a little hard in this section, but I can get through it, something like that. Yeah. So that's same thing. We're not looking for a lot of subscribers. We're kind of just out there to throw stuff out to help someone who's starting out see what's available to them and not be afraid to try.
And to watch her awesome progression. That's why I'm in it.
Yeah, which is awesome.
That's super cool to see. Yeah.
That's so good.
Very rewarding. Very rewarding to see.
JT, how about you?
So I think I'm pretty in tuned with YouTube. Again, I watch it the whole time I'm on Zwift. I'm consuming a lot of YouTube. And man, I've thought about this a lot. I really have, because my full-time job is content creation and my hobby is content creation. So it's a big deal for me, right? Just to be in the space and to kind of understand where the creation community is at, and especially the cycling community. But what's interesting to me is I think for the full-time YouTube creators, it's a different situation. It is an issue where YouTube changed the way their videos are being monetized. And rather than them have to double down and even spend more time than they already were in order to gain the monetization that they used to have, I can see the burnout. I can see why people would want to quit, go a different avenue, try to find more different revenue sources rather than the YouTube route, which is getting more difficult to become a full-time YouTuber. That's the facts. Yeah. For me, and I think I speak for all of us, it's already been said, we're not here for the subscribers. I've never had a job where the goal was fame and recognition, because if that was my goal, I've had the wrong jobs for a long time. So that's never been the thing either. And Johnny, I gotta shout you out here, because when I was thinking back to motivation, right? What is the motivation? What is it that makes me spend hours and hours and hours filming and making videos? And our chat came back to me.
Wow.
And that was one of and that kind of sparked a little bit of a trip down memory lane for me, and like the things that really hit the hardest for me, that like mean the most to me, and are the things that really keep me picking that camera up again. And to me it's this is it.
Wow.
Like if all the stuff that I did got me to here and got me to your podcast, that's it, man. Like, and
thank you.
The friends that I've made and the connections that have come from it, and people that I ride with now that I only met from the internet. Like, I say this all the time, and it's so funny to me that I'll say to Sarah, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do X, and what are you doing this time? Well, I'm going to meet another guy that I met on the internet.
Yeah.
That sounds
terrible. That's terrible.
And I say that a lot. It's funny how often I'm saying, I'm meeting another guy that I've met on the internet. Yes. Like I've spent so much of the last 3 years meeting men that I met on the internet.
Now, there's no judgment.
Yeah. And I love it. I couldn't be happier about it. Like this is, to me, again, what feeds your soul is what's going to keep that train rolling. And for me, it is the community. It's absolutely the community. And I'm going to have an event in September up north of me that is all about that, and is literally just me and all my friends coming to one location and just creating content, riding bikes, and strengthening our small community in any way that we can, because we're only as strong as we are together, right? It's like two wheels, one heart, right? That's what we do. But it means more than just that in a singular sense. It means it in the whole sense, right? That's what we are, and we're only as strong as this is. Yeah. So for me, that's the motive. That's where I landed. That's how I feel about it. I don't care how much YouTube wants to pay me. Whatever they pay me is great, but I don't tailor my content for dollar
Exactly.
signs. I tailor my content for what I want to do, and I tailor it to meet people like you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And think about it. Like I know I was fortunate enough to YouTube pays you. I was fortunate enough
buys
to
me coffee every day, Johnny.
Sage and Johnny. And I mean, what's the first thing you do? You run up and you feel like you know the person because of all the time you spent. You go give a stranger a hug. Yeah. Like, where is this? You meet someone online, you run up, you give them a hug because you know them. Like,
it was when you put your hand on my butt. It was a little uncomfortable. But
I thought we discussed that before.
Okay, I forgot. But you bring that. No, it's Sage's turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sage,
you're last.
Sage,
yeah, because
different boat.
That's a tough one. It's a really tough one. You know, it's something that I think about a lot, but I don't think about it in the same senses. You know, like it's hard for me to judge or think about people that are in that scenario because I'm not there, right? I mean, none of us are there. Yeah. You know, the people that are quitting YouTube we're talking millions of subscribers. We're not talking like, 5,000, 15, we're talking millions. And I don't know what that feels like, right? I don't know what that pressure feels like. I don't know what it's kind of like when you hear, and not to steal a thing from a comedy bit, but like, it's kind of like when you hear about like celebrities cheating, and it's like, and everyone's like, oh, how could you do that? How could you? You don't have men and women throwing themselves at you every night and day. It's easy for you to criticize somebody. Wow. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy for you to sit there and be like, oh, I would never do that. And it's like, are you sure? Like, do you have millions of like sexy men and women throwing themselves at you? And like, I'm not in that scenario. So it's hard for me to pass judgment. Here's what I will say. I found something that I love, and it's always been a part of my life to create content. Before I was doing YouTube, I was creating content. I was in media production. I'm doing this full time now, and nothing's changed. I love what I do every day. And I don't care if one person watches or 100 people watch, I'm still making it because I love to do it. And it's been a detriment. It's been a detriment many times because, like JT, you were saying, I'm not on trend. I'm not making content because somebody else made it and like, oh, this is going to be trendy, I better hop on it. I'm making content that I want to make. And if nobody watches it, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm really happy with what I came up with. I'll literally watch my own videos and I'm like,
that
was pretty good. I'm
pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you are going at it with that attitude, right? If you can sit back at the end of the day and you can say, I gave 100%, because that's all we can do. We can give 100%. You gave 100%. And you're happy with what you did, that's all that matters, right? And if that's your motivation, you can go on forever. You go on forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to hold you, man.
How can you beat that?
It's your words. You're so inspiring.
Not to like wrap up anything if anyone else needs to say anything, but man, that was a good. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Good night. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Johnny, text me.
That's your real.
Text me your answer.
That's your real right there. That's your real.
Yeah. Now, but Johnny, do we hear from you yet?
I think you've heard from me all night. No, I'm just kidding. No, JT. First off, thank you for the compliment of our little chat that we had. I have a blast. I've said this before in other podcasts and with other people. Is that I'm really, dude, I got no subscribe. I'm a Fisher Price, my first podcast. And I always joke about that. But I don't do this. I do this for this right here. Like I'm a content creator during the day. So you're not going to see me edit and make videos long form. I will, but I love interviewing people and I've done it for my whole career. And I remember.
And you're very good at it.
Thank you. I will take the compliment. That guy, the segment. I reached out to him, and he's become a very good friend of mine. Mia, I mean, we've all. I mean, when I lost my finger, Mia would FaceTime me.
Wow,
it's amazing.
I just really wanted to get to see what was it. This one was it. This one.
It's this one. But it's the friendships I made, and I didn't think I would make these friendships. I interviewed Brian on a bike, and
couple years ago.
This guy won't leave me alone.
He showed up at his house.
I honestly thought that I was going to do this, and you interview somebody, you say, "Thanks, bye." Didn't realize I was going to make these connections with people, and I've made some really, really good friends with it. And this guy right here, Mark Hill, this from the segment, I would text him. I'm like, I'm not getting the views. I'm not getting the subscribers. I'm not getting. And he talked to me. He was just like, but do you like doing it?
Mm-hmm.
You get a paycheck every day or every week. Yeah, I get a paycheck. And he goes, and do you love it? So this is now just a hobby. I don't care, if I get a plaque or these are my plaques. These are my YouTube plaques, these stickers right here of all you guys. I got Dusty Dutchman right on my computer where the apple is.
There you go.
It's meeting you guys that keeps me going. I do okay. We're doing all right here. I don't need the YouTube money. I always felt like I needed the subscribers because I don't want, especially when I started out, it's like, who's going to come on my channel? I got like my mom and my sister subscribed.
Yes.
But even now I'm getting, it's funny. It's just fun.
Yeah, it is.
And I know you all
really is
because it really is just a blast. I mean, Dusty, all of you guys, it just kills me because I'm like this goofy little dude in the middle of the screen right now, and you guys are like stupid content creators. Like literally, like I look at
only make stupid content.
Yeah, Brian in there, but no, but like JT with your bird spoke thing. Are you kidding me with that video? Did you all see that?
Yes.
Where I planted it. Yeah,
you planted. Yes.
That one.
Oh my God! And Mia with what she's doing for women in the sport.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's beyond. Somebody asked me the other day if I won't say any names. They asked me, "Oh, by the way, do you know Mia?" And I'm like,
"Who? Tell me who this person is."
Tell you later. and this guy. Like I had you on because your stuff is beyond. It's just I'm giddy with being able to say that I at least know you guys. That's my short answer.
That is a short answer. One second.
He's going to get a Mai Tai.
Oh man. So what I find is so funny. Like again, how many thousands of mountain bikers are out there? Whatever number you could throw out there, but it's such a small community because, like you said, it's funny how many people you talk to that then suddenly talk about someone. Okay, you had Scott from Pelly on the other day. I've been dealing with them for a little over 2 years now or so. Like, so I pretty much from their start, I've been a huge fan of them, talking to them and everything. But I know they just mentioned that they talked to you recently, stuff like that. Like everyone's names just keep popping up through different people, through everyone. It's just so funny how connected everything really is as it goes. And we're gonna get the Wandering Dutchman, involved in it too. But bird spoke.
No, Mia, that's who I was talking about. I was talking to them before and they were like, "Do you know Mia?" And I'm like,
"Oh
yeah."
And they were like, "Oh yeah." So my buddy's just
connections. So.
Yeah, it's it's ridiculous. Like I rode with Mia out in Sky Park, and I hope to ride with you guys someday. I rode with Brian and Aaron. But when I was at Sky Park, it was like content creator heaven.
Yeah,
there's so many in SoCal. When you're born in SoCal, they just you pop out with a GoPro in your hand.
Yeah, well, I wasn't born in SoCal, so
but it was, and I'm like being pulled. I'm like, oh, there's MTB Allen. There's Outsider, there's Brett Hall, there's Riding Dirty, and it was just so amazing that you're right, Brian, with the community. I could interview someone every single day for a year and not even scratch the surface of mountain bike creators, big or small. But it's so funny how little it is.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone, or at least connected through someone else. And it's just it's a really weird, close-knit family.
Yeah. So it really does make sense, Johnny, that you are in the middle right now.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, because it's kind of you kind of just have connected a lot of it, like us together. I mean, that's why when you text me about this, I mean, I couldn't have responded faster. You were like, "Hey, would you?" I didn't even finish reading. I was like, "Yes, we'll do it. I'll do it."
I said, "Wow, that was quick."
Yeah, I don't even know if I read the whole thing. I think I just asked. I think I read like, "Will you?" And I was, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever it is, whatever it is, whatever you want.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you were like trying to quantify it or like just sell it to me. I was like, no, I said yes. Like, it's cool. I'm in. Just tell me when. Tell me when and where, and I'll be there.
Yeah, when we did want to put this together, that was the thing. You know, we mentioned it to Johnny, and I was like, "All right, this is what I'm thinking." He's like, "Do you want me to get someone? Like, can I help? What can I do?" You know, just one of those like, "Hey, who do you need?" It's like, but then it was always that. But you know, just let me know if you want anything. You know, that's it. But no, it was great. So I really do appreciate all of you guys for jumping in. Sage was kind of stuck because again, Sage is nearby. We ride together. We're friends. Johnny, you know, he's stuck now. So all these things, but really, me and JT, thank you for joining us. And this was
absolutely. Yeah, anytime.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll talk next time. You know, maybe we need a group outing to Sky Park. I know I've never been to Cali.
July.
We're doing Ride and Shine again in July. So July 13th, I believe it is. It's March.
I will be there.
About the no lift.
You are coming?
Yeah, I'm coming again. Yeah, heck yeah.
We're getting Candace out there. Candace is gonna come.
Oh, cool.
Wait,
July 13th.
Candace, would you like to be on my show?
Let's see. I
just
know
say
she
yes.
would.
Say yes.
I could probably make that happen.
Oh my gosh.
New Orleans.
So Sage, are you going too? What's going on here?
I got no money, man.
You got
YouTuber.
All right.
Well-time YouTuber.
Crowdfunding for Sage. Let's crowdfund to get him out here.
There we go.
If I get on my bike now, I could probably make it there in time.
There you go. Yeah. Ride that BMX bike that's behind you. Yeah, I'll take one.
Yeah.
It looks
Which looks badass, by the way. That looks really good.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
That looks really cool.
July 13th. Yep.
July
Johnny, please
13th.
make it in time this time, and don't think you're not going to hit LA traffic. He made that mistake.
It was the plane was.
Oh my God! He
Plane
texted
was
me. He's like,
delayed.
"We'll be there in an hour." 4 hours later, Johnny rocks it.
We still broke bread that night.
What was the complaint when we came to visit you? We were told a certain time. We were there like 10 minutes early or something. We got yelled at for being too early.
Well, you're Miami.
Those guys.
If you're in Miami, you have to be late.
Yeah.
Now
we know.
No, I was early. Time you were just really
tell us the time. We're going to be there a little beforehand. You know.
Well, I say, if
you're on time, you're late.
I'm almost. I texted him. I'm almost at the trail, and he goes, "Oh, we should leave." He was like an hour away, you know, because Miami it's always an hour to get to Miami if you're in Miami. Yeah. And then he was already long. Podcast. Why am I talking too much?
Well, before everyone gets too bored and everything, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It was awesome, and it was great just sitting here chatting with you. Hopefully, everyone else that was along enjoyed the ride. We did hear a little bit about some winter riding, but really, it's the fun community chat, and it's awesome to connect. Again, east, west, north, south, like the entire nation is represented kind of here, and
in Australia,
all surrounding Johnny. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So that's it. Until next time. Thank you all.
Guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
I like it, balloons. I got balloons.
Nice.
I thought